Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lucifer here, business and spiritual consultant as always. If it's your first time joining the Apocalyptic Optimath channel, well, you are welcome. Please leave a subscribe or a comment and enjoy the show. So, I made a video. I made a first half. I like the first half. I don't know if I'm gonna add the first half to this half. Um, I probably will. I don't know. Maybe, but basically, this video, in case that I don't add the first part, this video is about Bill Carson. I was gonna go to sleep, like I said. I was gonna go to sleep. I was gonna, take my beauty sleep and everything. And then I saw something pop up on my timeline. It was Bill Carson, right? And Bill Carson had a debate with a Christian, and he got completely owned by this said Christian. Now, the thing that I find interesting, that I was gonna get around to in the first part of my video, I think I'm gonna release both parts. So the interesting part is I feel there's this kind of energy now, because now they're like going balls to the wall with the Christian tip, because there's a guy that made a video. He's like doubting Bill Carson, and he's like, I think I'm gonna go back to being a Christian now because Bill Carson is full of shit. He's like going back to Christianity, and he's like really going into it, he starts talking about like spirits. When the first spirits come in, they attack your theology, and he's like really switching sides, like he's flipping the fuck out, right? Even though the guy's video is primordially like actually right about most of the things that he said, or I'm pretty sure he's right about the shit that he says. So and it's kind of funny. So now they're kind of like using this Bill Carson ownage as an excuse to like be like, you see no. That's never gonna happen. Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, you have to. I'm not saying that believing God is something that a stupid person would do, because I used to believe in God and I don't consider myself a stupid person. But but I will say that they use the notion of God as a tool to oppress and suppress people. A lot of people uses that tool for oppression and suppression, which is the reason why religion needs to go away, because I feel like a lot of people should have nothing to say when they have nothing to say. When you're beating a child and the child looks at you straight square in the fucking eyes and he's like, what kind of love is this? What kind of God permits something like this to happen? Which is a perfectly valid and intelligent question. And then the grown up starts talking to you about shit like, you must listen to me because God said this. This is the reason why religion needs to disappear, because a lot of people abuse other people and traumatize other people and hide behind God. So this is why Christianity must disappear, because I don't want people to have something to say, because at the end of the day you have to stand naked in front of me, right? If you're gonna do some stupid shit, if you're gonna play stupid games, if you're gonna play stupid games, you're gonna have to come naked in front of me. Pause. Hey yo moment. Because you're sitting there and you're dishonest, because there's a reason why you're abusing people. There's a reason why you're traumatizing people. There's a reason why you're attacking people. There's a reason why you're oppressing people. There's a reason why you're suppressing people. The only thing is, We don't know what that reason is because you hide behind God. You use God as a scapegoat for your evil deeds. So I do agree with Bill Carson when he says that Christianity should be dismantled. It should, because it causes more harm than anything else. And mind you, I'm speaking on an individual level, right? And I said these things on purpose, right? Because this is what happens when one person gets his hands on the Bible. So look at the state of the world. Look at all the evils that are happening, right? And all the bad things, all the evil politics and the evil power plays that are being done, and the evil that are being projected at us too, right? If one individual has a tendency to hide behind a Bible in order to explain his misdeeds, how many people are doing that at the end of the day, right? Like how many people are out here doing that? How many organizations does the same thing? You see, you have to understand, like, the most beautiful things happen in the dark. The most beautiful things happens in the dark. So a lot of people, they stand in the dark and they do their thing and they think nobody's watching. They think nobody's listening. They think nobody knows or nobody understands, right? But there's always somebody watching. There's always someone watching. There's always someone listening, right? So I find that interesting that he didn't maneuver himself in a way where he could talk about these things. You know what? I think the Bill Carson interview that just happened was a humiliation ritual. And Bill Carson is going to have a TV show after this. He's going to have a TV show. He's going to be in a movie, or he's going to have more interviews. I think it's a what's it called? A humiliation ritual. I don't think that's real, because I think somebody that has less skill level than I have. Yes, I am saying that I have some skill level. Yeah, I'm that confident in myself. Yes. So I think somebody that has less skill level than I have would have done better than Bill Carson did in his interview. I'm pretty sure of it. Because they started talking about the Sinai Bible. I never read that Bible, and I'm not gonna read it either, not anytime soon. Because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. There's 50 versions of the Bible. 50, not 15, 50. Not interested. Why is there 50 version of the same goddamn word? How many translations? If the dude said, "I shall not steal," how many translations do you need for "I shall not steal"? Is that what he said? Yes or no? End of story. That you don't need to give me 50 different translations, unless those 50 different translations are in another language. But that's not the case. Though all those 50 different translations are in the same language. That's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's nonsensical. So a lot of people hide behind God, to do their deeds. And that's why Christianity must be dealt with. It must go away once and for all. I'm not saying that I'm going to do that. That's just my opinion. My opinion is Christianity needs to go. I'm not saying it should go. I'm not saying that anybody should make any kind of effort towards making it go away. That's not what I'm saying at all. in my belief, from what I'm seeing, in my opinion, I don't think Christianity should exist. I think it's a horrible thing. And you can achieve Christ consciousness, but the thing is, everybody keeps throwing that word around, Christ consciousness, Christ consciousness, Christ consciousness, but Christ consciousness only means you're going to live in hate. That's what Christ consciousness is. Christ consciousness is a person that's smart, but Christ consciousness is a person that has something in them, that has some kind of genie. Right? Christ consciousness is a person that has some kind of jinn living inside of him, and people can feel or technically see the jinn living inside of that person, and everybody is jealous of this person or hates this person because of the jinn that this person has. That's what Christ consciousness is. That's true Christ consciousness. If you really are about that Christ consciousness life, that's what Christ consciousness is. You're a man that lives in hate. You're a man that is not seen. You're a man that no one wants to see. Not because you're ugly, not because you're evil, just by pure jealousy. That's Christ consciousness. And a lot of people that keep talking about Christ consciousness, they've never seen that. They've never lived through that. They don't live in hate. Most people that talk about Christ consciousness nowadays, they're jumping around in Maybachs. they're driving around in fucking Maybachs and flying around in the globe in private jets. That's bullshittery. You don't know what Christ consciousness is. Personally, and what I know, it's funny that this guy says that he has a degree in neurology, in neuropathology, right? But the thing is, curses are a neurological problem. A curse is a neurological problem. It is. It's like I was watching a cartoon the other day. It was very interesting because the cartoon was kind of like saying, yeah, you know, like it was a guy and he was trying to what was I watching? I don't remember, but he was the guy, it was like a dude, and he was like he was conducting experiments on humans. And he was trying to see if a person was crazy or not. So what he did was he would implement ideas in this person's head, right? And he wanted to push those ideas to the limit, right? Kind of like hypnosis. Right, so he was trying to hypnotize a person into believe, but the way he did it was very specific and it was very special. I don't remember what cartoon I was watching, but it was pretty good. The way he did it was kind of like he would put this idea in this person's mind and he would push it to the max, but he would leave this person with a certain amount of free will. And why he did that is because he wanted to see if the thing that he implemented in this person's head would activate, even if that person is unaware that the thing is in his head, right? So it's kind of like we're talking about like a berserker, right? Like Scottish, Irish giant men that used to believe that they were werewolves or bears, right? So the legend says these people would act like wolves or they would act like bears, right? So, and the thing about berserkers, that a lot of people believe that berserkers would channel energy, would channel spirit animals, and that's why they would change, and they would change into berserkers, and they would go on the battlefield and just destroy everything. So there's a part of the brain, right? So what we're really trying to find out is the part of the brain that's responsible for doing that, which I don't remember what it is. I probably do know what it is. I just don't remember right now because I didn't look it up. I didn't check anything up before doing this video. I don't need to. No one cares, right? We're just shooting shit. You guys want to hear what I think about it. I want to hear what you think about it. It's all in good fun. We're just having some fun here, right? So the thing is, there's a part of the brain that's responsible for that kind of trigger, right? A kind of like a dissociative personality disorder, right? Multiple personality disorder, right? So, but it's interesting. I like multiple personality disorder too. I've always been a fan of multiple personality. I think I like superheroes that have multiple personality disorder because it's interesting how I believe it's like when a mother, right, a woman sees her daughter or her son stuck under a bus and she just something triggers in her mind and she can just lift the entire bus off of her son, right? So that's attached to multiple personality disorder, dissociative personality disorder, right? And so it's very weird that he just throws pathological science in there, right? But he never talks about these things because I'm interested in these things. I think the neuropathology of humans is very interesting, to be able to do that, right? If we are even able to do that, because we're still trying to figure out what is the cause of that trigger and can we actually trigger it on purpose? Because at the end of the day, all of us, we're all capable of dissociating our personalities if we want to have multiple personalities. If you study, let's say, so basically Christ consciousness is a form of dissociative personality disorder. And like I said, a dissociative personality disorder is like a curse, right? Back in the days, we would call that a curse. We would say this person is cursed, right? But why is he cursed? What do you mean curse? What is causing this curse? How is this curse actually happening anyway, right? So you develop Christ consciousness by reading, by indulging in a series of rituals, right? Prayer, right? And then you go at a place of communion to reinforce your faith, the church. Witches would call it a coven, right? So you go do the cult, you go to the cult, you will have disciplinary, ritualistic things that you must do, which we call prayer. And then there is the actual reading of the multitude of stories and whatnots, right? The rules, the regulations, the stories, anyway, all of those things, right? So you are constructing a personality. You're literally reading about a personality. That's what you're doing. When you're reading about the Bible, you're reading about a personality. You're reading about God's personality, more or less. More or less. You're not reading about God's personality. You're reading about the personality of a prophet. Because all the stories in the Bible are prophet stories. So you're reading about the personality of a prophet. And Jesus only comes way further down in the Bible. He's in half of the book, right? So you don't see Jesus until you get to half of the Bible. All the other stories are all other prophets that no one ever talk about, right? So, but the gist is still the same in the Bible, and that's the thing. With all the stories, the gist is continuous. There's always a harsh lesson. Humans are always seen as animals, cruel, savage animals. No matter which prophet we're talking about, like Samson seems like a lighthearted story, but it's not. Delilah cheats on him, cuts his hair off, kills him after. Horrible story. King David becomes crazy at some fucking point, I think, or he becomes a despot. Right? I feel more sorry for Goliath than I do for David, because the two brothers wept when they heard that their brother died, Goliath, which were two kings. They cried when they heard that Goliath died. I feel worse. I feel more for the giants than I feel for David. Because David comes out of nowhere. You know, those are two kings. So that means, you know, they had a history. You can think, you know, oh yeah, you can almost imagine, you know, all the dancing and the drinking and the wars that they had. There was kings. They were brothers. You just lost a brother that you had fun with and you conquered with. Like, I feel more for the kings, for Goliath, for Goliath's brothers. I don't remember their name. I feel more for Goliath's brothers than I do for King David. So the moral of the story is always the same. It's repetitive. It's always people are garbage, and the first chance they get, they're gonna kill you. It's the same thing for Jesus. That's the same story. You know, the story of Jesus is people are garbage, and the first chance they get, they're gonna kill you. And that's what happened to Jesus. The first chance they got, they killed him. Right? So it's repetitive. So that's kind of, and what's the basis of hypnosis? Right? So how do you hypnotize somebody? You got to use a trinket. You got to use a trinket. You know, that's why you got like, there's a word, there's a specific word, there's a specific scientific word for the thing that you use to hypnotize people, you know, but you got to use a medium, right? You got to use a trinket or a medium, right? And the person focuses on that said medium or that said trinket, right? The thing that you're using to hypnotize the person. And while this person is focused on the trinket, you repeat the same words over and over again, right? So what is the Bible doing? The Bible is the trinket, right? You're focused, you're zoomed in, you're super locked in. You're going to church, you're praying, you're super locked in, right? And the thing is repeating itself over and over again, over and over again. It's 3,000 pages of the same story over and over again. So you're hypnotized, right? You might not want to call it that way. You might want to call it something else. It might be too much for you to hear this also, right? And I'm sorry, I don't mean anything by it. But if you look at it in a literal sense, if you take it at face value, or I say face value, but I would say if you look deeper into it, right? But it is kind of face value, right? So, because we're talking about the raw material. We're talking about raw material here, right? So you're focused on the trinket, and the trinket is doing its thing. It's spinning around. It's going from one end to the other. It's you know, whatever, right? The spiral thing, you know. So then you get the psychopathic aspect of it, right? Or the dissociative personality thing. So let's say the hypnosis does actually work, but at the end of the day, Christ consciousness. What is Christ consciousness, right? So now you're reading this thing, right? And you have it in your brain and it's stuck there, right? You have it down to a science, right? You have it down to a science. You can go in it forward, backward, whatever. But it's not just that you know the words. There's also a matter of belief, because anybody can know any word. I can read a whole book about fucking colonoscopy, right? I can repeat it to you word for word. That doesn't mean I know how to make a colonoscopy. That doesn't mean that I'm good at colonoscopy. It doesn't mean shit. Right? I just learned the words and then I repeated it. That's very different from knowing, understanding, and believing. Right? Those are the things that's going to make you good at colonoscopy. I don't know why I'm thinking of colonoscopy, pause, hey yo, but I'm thinking about colonoscopy, okay? So anyways, so now you have this thing down to a science. It's in your head, it's locked in, you believe in it, you conduct yourself as is, because now you're hypnotized, right? So of course you're gonna act the same way these people used to act, if you really believe. But what happens when you start believing? What happens when you start acting like this person starts to act, right? And that's when the curse aspect comes in, because you will start to live that life. You will literally start to live like this person. You're going to mirror whatever you're reading about. It's gonna happen for real. So people will start hating you. You're going to become Jesus. You're going to become Jesus. So that's another thing that Bill Carson is right about, right? But it's like he said that shit in another interview. It wasn't in the last thing. You know, it's a Christ consciousness is a thing. It's the return of Christ. It's not a person, like he says, that's gonna come down from the sky and the stuff, blah 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 blah. He's already here. That's why people like me, that's why chosen ones, we always say, Jesus, he's already here, bro. He's walking down the street all the time. You don't see him? I see him all the time. I see him all the time walking up and down these streets, bro. He's already here. You waiting for. I'm sorry, Lucifer. I'll be on you in a minute. Let me talk to my people for a minute. You know, so yeah, I'll be hearing cracks. I'll be hearing cracks in the wall and shit. So anyways, man, like at the end of the day, that's what happens. That's the curse. But the thing is, the reason why I call it a curse is because these people that invented the Bible, they could have easily created a story of fame and fortune. They could have easily created a story. God, if you prefer, if you don't believe that the Bible was invented by a bunch of very clever individual, very smart and clever witches, if you don't want to believe that, then why didn't God create a story? If God knows that the universe is nothing but a mirror, why didn't he mirror something better than the Bible? Why did he give us a guy, our role model for being like him is a guy that has to suffer like crazy? Because God doesn't suffer. God has never suffered. God doesn't know what suffering is. He'll never know. If God exists, first of all, he's never going to know what suffering is. He doesn't know what pain is. But yes, he gives us all the pain that he could possibly imagine. Right? So he didn't give us a story. He could have easily given us a story where, okay, there's a little bit of hardship, but the ending is cool, because in the ending there's no cool ending. The end of the Bible is everybody's dead. There's no good ending to the Bible. Like, everybody's dead. And even if, oh yeah, but there's 144, yeah, but your family, everybody you know is gonna be dead. Like, oh yeah, 144. Yeah, but your family is not 144. They're all gonna be dead. Your friends are gonna be dead. Your family's gonna be dead. Your dog, your cat, everybody's gonna be dead. That's the Bible. That's how the Bible ends. Everybody dies. Doesn't matter that there's 144. You're gonna be the only one there. You're gonna be stuck with me. Or maybe not me, but technically, yeah. Technically, yeah, you're gonna be stuck with me. Like, you're not gonna be with your family. You're gonna be with me. You're not gonna be with your family. You're not gonna be with your friends. You're gonna be with me. You don't know me. I don't know you. That's the Bible. That's the promise of the Bible. So, anyways, the patterns in the Bible are not positive. They're negative, right? So now you're mirroring existence, and you're mirroring an aspect, or you're taking over a spirit, or the spirit is now taking over you, because now you have access Christ consciousness. Now you are Christ consciousness. You're living Christ consciousness, and people are hating the shit out of you, right? So I don't know. Like, Bill Carson could have went many different ways. He didn't. I think it was a humiliation ritual. I'm pretty sure it's a humiliation ritual. I think he's gonna get like 45 TV shows and whatnot, bro. I don't think that was too easy. That was bullshit. That was literal bullshit. It was way too easy, man. Like, and the guy came on the show. He had his cell phone at a debate with a professional person. It's a lie. And now, not only the reason why that I cement that it's a humiliation ritual is now they got people making videos talking about, like, oh yeah, I was Bill Carson. No. If you are down to go down with somebody, like, if you listen to what somebody says, right, and this person has a group and you want to be part of the group, bro, unless you're gay, there's no reason why you wouldn't do your own research. Unless you're there because you think he's cute, because you think he's a good looking man and you would like to munch on his junk, you know what I mean? Then there is absolutely zero reason why you don't do your own research. And if you do your own research, you might lose a leader from time to time. It's like, I think we lost Gucci Mane. I think we lost Gucci Mane. I'm not sure. I'm still waiting on this whole situation with Adam 22, but I think we lost Gucci Mane, bro. And I might be wrong. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop being a blood. Just because Gucci Mane might or might not have some good stuff, some good junk in the trunk. You know what I mean? That I'm not gonna stop being a blood because Gucci Mane, because the guy, because I believe in what we're doing. I've researched what we've done. What we've done is older than this person. This person was just a conduit, was just a helper, a bringer, a leader in the circle that I'm in. But in that circle, I made my own choices. I made my own research. Whether or not Bill Carson is there, that's not gonna stop me from believing what I believe. Bill Carson means nothing to me. I'm happy if there's a Bill Carson in my belief system, but whether or not there is a Bill Carson doesn't change what I want, doesn't change what I think. It's sad and it sucks and I'm going to be pissed off, but I'm still gonna keep going. Whether or not you're there or not, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait until there's another leader. He just wasn't the right one. That's all it is. I'm not gonna switch up and be like, oh yeah, I believe in Christ now. No, fuck you. Absolutely not. Like, get the heck out of here with that nonsense, bro. Like, burn your face, burn my language. But seriously, absolutely not. That's not gonna change a goddamn thing. It's like, do you really think it's like the leader of the Illuminati dies with all the bullshit that these guys are capable of doing with people's lives? Do you really think they're gonna stop just because one of their leaders died? Hell fucking no. Are you fucking crazy? Like, if not, if in the case of the Illuminati, I think if one of their leader dies, it's gonna get even more crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because at least when there's a leader, there's somebody watching them, you know. But now there's nobody, so now they're just gonna go buck wild. You know what I mean? So they're not gonna stop believing in what they're believing because they're missing one guy. You know what I mean?